Hi there everyone, I thought I could share all my PvP clips that I got from the recent Dark Souls 3 network test. These clips are nothing special, there's a lot of weird stuff going around because I couldn't decide on some of the fights whether I wanted to test some things out like kicks and parries and stuff like this, or whether I want just like a plain good old fight. So some of the fights are better, some are just weird because I keep on spamming kicks or parries or whatever. But hey, here is the first fight, and you're going to see a very good demonstration of the battle axe sword art or battle art or whatever it is. It tracks very well and quite a good distance. Here I think this guy uses it right here. Wow, a good distance on that attack, and it tracked like 180 degrees as well. Here I try to bait him in to the Soul Greatsword, but I get rollback stab as well, so that's quite interesting, because some of the people are saying that technique is completely dead. Well, it's not completely dead, but it's very limited in use now. Rollback stabs are not nearly as powerful as they were before. But yeah, I didn't get as many PvP clips that I would wanted to. I didn't know about the trick that you could spam the, what's it called, the red eye orb to get the invasions faster, so I had to wait them for a long time. I also hosted a lot of fights for other people and just watched the fights myself, so those fights or those hosted fights are not included here. I'm sorry about that, I wanted to keep the video on reasonable length as well. But yeah, quite an underwhelming amount of PvP I got in the network test, but what I see there, it seems very promising, very interesting. A couple of little very nice changes to the backstab and some implementations from the Dark Souls 2 into the Dark Souls 1 combat system, like if you run locked on you can turn to any direction, but if you don't run you just move at normal speed. It's full on Dark Souls 1 movement. So yeah, interesting. And also the charged R2s like there come back from the Bloodborne, which is really nice addition. About goddamn time we got those. And yeah, I just got fucked in there as well. By the way, sorry about the zombie-like commentary. I'm a little bit hangovered. When I'm recording this commentary, yesterday was Halloween, and it was kind of a Halloween party we had yesterday, so you can maybe figure out the rest. So here I start trying out the parries, but that doesn't end too well for me, if I remember correctly. One thing backstabs are really good so far, at least based on the network test, is punishing parries. Punishing parries and punishing like real slow castings or Estus. Punishing healing, it still works. But right there I got backstabbed for my freaking parrying attempts. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, because I was testing out the parry timing, how it works, and it is different from Dark Souls 1. Anyone who is going to say it's completely like Dark Souls 1 is bullshitting you. It is not. It is not the same. You don't have that same kind of latency between your shield kind of going to the side animation and then you kind of reflect it with your nipples. Yeah, that's not a thing anymore. It's way more accurate on what's actually happening in the screen. So here I battle the negative blue tie. He is the host of this world. And yeah, as you probably have all heard by now, some of the implementations they did with the online mechanics are not that positive, but there is not yet like confirmation that this is actually going to be in the final game, that host has more health and you can only invade like co-oping dudes and stuff like this. We just have to see how it turns out. It's so hard to tell everything based on the network test. There's no stats sheets or anything like this that would be interesting to see. And there you see the first parry I landed, and as you could saw there, or as you could see there, sorry about my English, oh, this is terrible, it was instant, like it was so pitch perfect animation, like the shield went right with the weapon's blade and they connected, not the jagginess and weird looking parries from Dark Souls 1, where your parrying animation has already ended and then your opponent gets parried. So when it comes to castings, I hope they would have had a little bit more castings to showcase, or new castings to showcase in the network test. There were a couple of spells, but they were mostly just spells we know already, and they act very similar way as they did in the other games. But there was the soul dart spell, which is kind of like a super fast soul arrow which you can spam, but it doesn't break any poise of the opponent and does very little damage. But at least you have kind of a finisher or pressure tool for mages, and I really like that. So here is Fenetulaminos. I don't know how to pronounce that, but this is one of those fights that I just look ridiculous. I try to parry everything, try to test out the parry timing, if it's actually accurate on what's happening in the screen, or is there a delay between it. This has also... I have realized that the parry timings, while watching other people's videos about the network test, the parry timings are... Well, there, I got parried, and it was like perfect looking animation as well when you get parried. So... yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, when I watched some other people land parries in their videos, their timing looked a little bit different than mine. So it could be tied to the latency a little bit more heavily than on other games. There was, of course, a latency always affects everything in these games, but what I mean is that in Dark Souls 1 there was this set amount of latency every time. Like when you get used to that certain latency, it was 90% of the cases you could use that same latency and still land your parries, no problem. You could get used to the latency that there was. But it doesn't seem to be that same amount of latency in Dark Souls 3, at least in the network test. Remember, this is just a network test, and some of the things here don't actually end in the final game, and they might change a lot. But yeah, just this is all just the speculation from this test. But parry timings seem to be a little bit variable. Like, I saw people getting a lot more lag in the fights in general compared to me. I have a very good connection. I have very good internet connection speed, so that might be another factor, but yeah. Just wanted to mention that out there. And here, I was very glad to see that some of the longsword combos from Dark Souls 1 still work. I was so happy to play with the longsword for the longest time. As some of you guys know, I really like the weapon in Dark Souls 1. I think longsword is like the basic of the basic weapons. It has always been the kind of weapon that never excels in like damage or range or anything like that, but the moveset is so varied that it's so fun to use this weapon. Here is actually some bug I need to report to From Software. I was fighting this dude and suddenly I got stuck. And I couldn't get out. I tried to roll every direction, jump, use gestures, get attacked, attack myself, but nothing worked. This guy was looking at me like, can you get out of there? And I couldn't. There was nothing I could do. So yeah, here I speed up the clip for you guys a little bit, so it doesn't take so much long time. But yeah, as you see, we tried just about everything to get me out of there. But eventually this player decided to quit out, and I had to restart the game as well, because there was no way for me to get out of there. Okay, so here I switched to the Cleric class, or the Herald of White. I didn't get a lot of, like, I tried some combos out with the Herald of White, but all those combos didn't result to anything. Like, I tried to, in network test at least, you get stunned for 2 hits. If you get 1 hit in, the second hit landed as well, at least on like 90% of the weapons. I'm not sure about the Swyhander or the Greatsword. So I tried to get the combo from Dark Souls that I used is R1, R1 and then jump attack. But that unfortunately doesn't land. I don't know if the roll distance is to too far or other than that, but it doesn't really work. You can see me using it later, or at least trying. So that's kind of a bummer. Okay, here I tried to sneak on this guy. I was like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna plunge him and surprise him. And then I just fall down like a flaccid penis. And my plan was ruined. But he was very friendly, so he waves at me and directs me to the fighting place. Actually, it was really nice to see that the network test area provided a very good dueling spot right from the start. That was a really nice detail, and I think they thought it out really well. So here I follow the host to the fighting spot. I think this is actually a very nice fight, if I remember correctly. Nothing very special happens, but you get this like a really nice fight feel in here. We're kinda like trying to read each other and use different things and stuff like this, like a real actual fight, and not just getting fucking destroyed by 3 gang squad members. So I tried to cast some spells in there. I'm not a mage, I must give it to you, I'm not a mage player. I couldn't really take any benefit out of my spells. I have never been a mage player, but I hope that this game actually gets me into it more. But so far the spells that were available weren't that good in the PvP situation, to be honest. Here I kick him, I hit him twice and tried to jump attack, but that didn't land. Oh god, that would have been so juicy combo, but I think it's just out of my reach. Here I go for the heal. He was a nice enough guy not to punish me, even though he shouldn't like let me heal like that. Of course he should be punished healing mid-fight, but he was kinda probably surprised about the spell or something, or thought I would keep casting something else or something, I don't know. But yeah, there I tried to combo again, but it didn't land either. So I don't remember how this fight ends. I think I'll lose this one. I think he gets some swipe in there at some point. Try to go for a lucky parry there. And yeah, that was a really enjoyable fight. I liked that a lot. I remember I enjoyed that fight a lot. There was a lot going on in there. Even though it wasn't special in any kind of way, it still gave me that real PvP feel. So this is one of these fights that nothing interesting happens. I just tried to kick a bunch, because I didn't test the kick too much. I tried to kick this guy. I tried to see if I can activate the kick repose thing that I heard of. So I'm just kicking a bunch in here, and also this fight shows how rusty I actually am in these games at the moment. I get a parry in here, but I don't trust my parry, and that is a very good sign of someone being rusty. You should always trust your parries, never roll away. I could have maybe turned this fight to my victory, but nah, I just got fucked. So here we are back with the mage again. Not that I use too many spells in my fighting techniques, but I at least tried to use them a little bit, but there wasn't a lot I could do with these castings, to be honest. And I hope that the changes they bring to the castings actually make caster builds like attractive again, or attractive choice to pick. But overall, I think that Dark Souls 2 did castings a lot more better than Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 was very limited, at least on PvP, I mean, when it comes to castings. And there, like a fucking perfect parry. I'm not like tapping myself on the back, that was a perfect parry. I'm just meaning the animation was perfect. Like the shield goes along with the blade, you know? I think you know what I mean by that. The animation is very accurate. So here I'm back with the Herald of White again, and this is one of these fights that I just get pretty much fucked. I just try to run away from them, try to find my spot, and I get stuck to the wall and just get demolished, if I remember correctly. One visual thing that I would change from this game, if it ends up in the final game, is that the blood is way too pink. It is like purple almost. It looks like some freaking grape juice. They would need more red blood. I think Bloodborne had better blood, even though that blood wasn't perfect either, but either like very dark, like almost black blood, but not that kind of like a juice colored blood. But that's just a minor gripe I have. Here is a very interesting like spot in there. I spammed the R1 in there, and even though he got out of the stun lock, he still got the last hit from the 3-hit combo there. So it's interesting. I think it just automatically gets you out of stun, but you are still vulnerable for the last hit in the combo. So that is interesting, especially when using like the faster weapons. So here, these are the last minutes of the network test. Actually, I was hosting fight here, and suddenly this red just decides to attack me. They could have had like a good fight in the end, but they just decided to be dick about it. Motherfuckers! I hosted fights for you, I trusted in you, and you do this shit to me. So yeah, this was very anticlimactic ending for my network testings. Here I just run away from them and try to survive, but yeah, this son of a bitches. I hosted fights, I was the good guy, and here I just get destroyed. Ungrateful little shits. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the network test, hit me up in the comment section, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.